හරි අපි කිව්වා ඔයාලට ව්‍යවසායකෙක් හෝ ආයෝජකෙක් වෙනවා නම් මේ උපාධි පාඨමාලාව කියන දේවල් සත පහකට වැඩක් නැහැ කියලා. හරිද? ඒතර මේ වගේ ඒ කියන්නේ බොරු උගන්වන්නේ මේ වගේ උගන්වන දේවල් ඔයාලට සත පහකට තීරුමක් ප්‍රයෝජනයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. වගේ සෙල්ෆ් එඩියුකේෂන් එක තමයි වැදගත් වෙන්නේ කියලා. හැබැයි ගොඩක් කට්ටිය මේ කියපු කතාව පිළිගත්තේ නැහැ. ඒතර ගොඩක් කට්ටිය මේකට එරෙහිව තර්ක කරා. ඒතර මේ කරා. ඒතර අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් දෙයක් කියලා ඔයාලා ඒ කියන්නේ බ්‍රේන් වොෂ් සීරීස් එකේ මොකක් හරි දෙයක් කියලා ඔයාලා ඒක පිළිගත්තේ නැත්නම් අපි ඊට වඩා මේක තදට කතා කරනවා. හරි ඊට වඩා තදට කතා කරනවා. කලින් ගැහුවේ පොඩි හෙමින් ලාවට හොම කනේ පාරක් ගැහුවනම් ඊළඟ පාර ගහනවා ආයේ දාලා වැටෙන්න. හරිද? ඒ වගේ තමයි. දැන් මම මේ වීඩියෝ එකේ ඔයාලට පෙන්නන්න යනවා ලෝකේ ඉන්න විශිෂ්ටතම ව්‍යවසායකයෝ සහ ආයෝජකයෝ මේ උපාධි පාඨමාලා කියන එක සත පහකට වැඩක් නැති වර්ත්ලස් දෙයක් විදිහට කතා කරන එකක් ගැන. ඒතර මේ වීඩියෝ එක ඔයාලා ඉවරනකම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම බලන්න.
Oftentimes business education today, and I see it all the time, kids come out of college, the best colleges, Wharton and Harvard and Stanford and some of the great business schools, and they'll come out and they won't have practical experience. There's too many case studies that aren't practical.
You know, we ask kids that are 16 to 18 years old to make $100,000 debt decisions when they go off to university. And they are not prepared for that. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. They just assume, okay, I'm going to pay 4 years of education at $25,000 a pop, and when I come out the other side, somehow I'll be able to pay it back.
Right.
That's not how life works anymore.
There's no need even to have a college degree at all, or even high school. I mean, if somebody graduated from a great university, that may be an indication that they will be capable of great things, but it's not necessarily the case. You know, if you look at, say, people like Bill Gates or Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs, these guys didn't graduate from college. But if you had a chance to hire them, of course, that would be a good idea.
I think having the flexibility to explore a lot of different things, which you can do when you're in college, which is one of the amazing things about being in college, is you can work on all these hobbies and code a lot of stuff and try a lot of different things. It's this amazing flexibility that I think most people take for granted. And once you decide, okay, I'm going to start a company and I'm going to do it with someone else, you immediately now need to convince someone else if you want to change your mind on something. And I think people really undervalue the option value and flexibility. I think explore what you want to do before committing is really like the key thing, and keep yourself flexible. And no, I think that's. I
agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually kind of funny. You know, if you think of like what is education, like you're basically downloading data and algorithms into your brain, and it's actually amazingly bad in conventional education because like it shouldn't be like this huge chore. You know, someone's standing up there kind of lecturing at people. And they've done the same lecture 20 years in a row, and they're not very excited about it. And in fact, I think a lot of things people learn, probably there's no point in learning them, because they never use them in the future. Because a lot of kids just in school kind of puzzled as to why they're there.
The people who are doing the work that we care about are figuring out what to do next, not following the person who told them what to do next. And the problem with most colleges is they are high school, but with more binge drinking. The entire purpose of a good university is to give you a foundation to fail, not a foundation to get an A. And if you graduate from college with straight A's, you have to do some serious soul searching as to why you chose to spend your time doing that.
The A students work for the B students, the C students run the businesses, and the D students dedicate the buildings.
It's like the newspaper industry, right? More printing presses, more big buildings, right? Makes us look grander. We have brains that we're putting them out there. There's a point of diminishing returns in terms of what it's worth for a college education and how much debt you're willing to saddle yourself with.
A lot of people follow. A lot of people are followers. Generally, if not, we'd have problems. We have too many entrepreneurs. We have too many successful people. Like, look how many people go through business classes. If everything you needed was in that actual business class, in that book, it'd be too many successful business people.
Right.
How many people graduate? Matter of fact, the professor wouldn't have the time to sit there and teach you. That knows this book damn near verbatim, page by page. He knows it, right?
Because he'd be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, he's too busy. I'm doing way too much right now because I got the palm trees and we selling so much of the stuff that I'm doing that I ain't quite got time to teach no mother class right now because I'm winning.
In my experience in business, there is very little difference, if any, between a very high-priced business education and what's available for a lot less money. I went to the University of Nebraska at Lincoln my last year in college. I went to Wharton for a couple of years before that. I learned just as much at the University of Nebraska as I did at Wharton. You need to be prodded in the right direction, but an awful lot of it is self-taught. It isn't necessary to pay $30,000 or $35,000 a year to go to some big-name school to get the education at all. I mean, if you're going to learn accounting, which is probably the most important course you'd take in business, if you're going to learn accounting, you can learn accounting absolutely as well, in my view, going to UNO as going to Harvard. I mean, I see. I'd bet on that, and so I wouldn't run up huge bills.
I hated school. I really hated school. I hated school, generally, right? Because it was this instruction following thing. Now, I bet you it's probably also because I wasn't good at it. And some people, like I've got a great conceptual memory and a terrible rote memory. So if I have a story, I could tell you year by year kind of what happened within a story, within a context. But if I was to go into, like a memory-based learning, it's terrible. I have a terrible rote memory. Ego barrier is the worst thing. And if we were raised differently, just imagine in the schools that all along that people will always say, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has weaknesses. The key is really to understand what your mistakes and weaknesses are so that you can learn from them, right? I think punishment is a terrible concept. Punishment means that you made a mistake and you're being punished. I think instead of punishment, every time somebody makes a mistake, you should say the only thing that you need to do to get out of your punishment is first think, what kind of mistake was that? So if I'm in a situation that's like that again, how would I deal with it differently, not to make that mistake? So that learning should come from the mistake, not punishment, because you're teaching people not to make mistakes. Where's where the learning comes from, not the appreciation that if you keep doing this over and over again, you're going to keep encountering the same outcomes.
හරි ඉතින් අපි මේ වීඩියෝස් හදන්නේ ගොඩක් මහන්සි වෙලා ඔයාලට මේකෙන් මොනවා හරි දැනුමක් ලැබුණා නම් අනිවාර්යෙන් subscribe කරන්න කියලා කියනවා. ඒතර අපේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට වලට තේරෙන්නේ නැති මේකට අපි කතා කරපු දේවල් වලට එරෙහිව කතා කරපු අයට අපි කතා කරපු දේවල් වල ඇත්ත පැත්තක් තියෙනවා කියලා. ඇත්තට මේ පුජ්‍යලෝ ඇත්තට මේ අධ්‍යාපනය නොලැබුවේ ඒ කියන්නේ උපාධි පාඨමාලාවක් හදාරන්න නැතුව අවුරුදු 4ක් 5ක් එහෙම නැත්නම් 6ක් මේවා හදාරන්න නැතුව ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ නිර්මාණවලට එකපාරටම කරන්න එළඹුණේ එක හේතුවක් මත. ඒක තමයි ඒවට නාස්ති වෙන කාලය. ඇත්තටම අවුරුදු 5ක් 6ක් ජීවිතය කියන්නේ තමන්ගේ හොඳම කාලය, තමන්ගේ නිර්මාණය වෙනුවෙන් කැප කරන්න ඕන කාලය නාස්ති කරන්න අකමැති නිසා. මොකද මේ වගේ උගන්වන ගොඩාක් දේවල් උපාධි පාඨමාලාවකදී උගන්වන ගොඩක් දේවල්. ඒ කියන්නේ 90%ක් වුණත් තමන් කරන නිර්මාණයට අදාළ කර ගැනීමට හැකියාවක් නැහැ. ගොඩක් අනවශ්‍ය දේවල් ඉගෙනීමක් සිදු වෙනවා. ඒතර මේ පුජ්‍යලෝ කරේ තමන්ගේ ස්වයං අධ්‍යාපනයෙන් ඉගෙනගෙන තමන්ට අවශ්‍ය දේවල් පමණක් ඉගෙනගෙන ඒ අදාළ නිර්මාණවලට දායක කර ගැනීමයි. එහෙමනම් ඔයාලා මේ දෙයින් මොකක් හරි දෙයක් ඉගෙන ගත්තා නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන් subscribe කරන්න. ඒ වගේම අපි කරන්නේ කොටස් වෙළඳපළ සම්බන්ධ වීඩියෝස්. අපි ගොඩාක් වීඩියෝස් කරලා තියෙනවා. වීඩියෝ 500ක් විතර කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වීඩියෝස් බලන්න බෙල් අයිකන් එක ක්ලික් කරන්න.